Welcome everyone to Unscripted Coding. Now, a few months ago, I was working on this Word plugin that we did a video on earlier. I wanted to show what happened a few months after and how I was able to reuse this code to try and create new things. And so, let's start off by talking about this Word plugin really quickly. What it does is it creates a chatbot on the side of your document right in Microsoft Word. So I can shut it off and turn it on again. And I have this interface ready to go. And here I might say, can you change the five-year term to 3 years? And what's nice about this chatbot is it's not just chat-gpt or Gemini on the side. What it can do is actually make changes to this document. And so if I undo and redo, you can see that it changed the document. And here, built-in tools from Word, I can accept the insertion and accept the deletion. I can do various other things. So I can say change the parties to a table so it's less wasting space. Gosh, that is horrible English. But, I don't like this weird block of text here, so I asked it to change it into, into a table. And so you can imagine it's useful to have ready to go, and I just accept the changes. There's a bit of white space here. That's not great, but let's take it out. And we can manipulate it in various ways. Now, on one hand, I'm a big believer of putting tools where people are already using them. And so when you think about documents, most likely you're thinking Microsoft Word. So you want to bring this in. On the other hand, there are some real limitations to working within Word. Not just technically, but even as a user experience, you are always working on a single document. And so I took this product, this chatbot that you can go on the Microsoft Marketplace and download. It's called Gemini AI for Office. And what I did was it took a lot of commits, as you can see. I extracted out the tools I built. I wrote a lot of code about how to parse through paragraphs, through bullets, through tables, and make edits. And I generalized it into plain JavaScript. That means that I don't need Microsoft Word in the back. I could theoretically create a desktop app. I could create a web page. I can create something else. And so while I started it all in one Git repository here, what I eventually did was I extracted out the redline code and created this tool called DOCX redline.js. This is now available on NPM. So I'm just going to copy this, NPM. And I don't think that's it. Let's just find it instead. Here we go. So we had to search my name, but I've made it available so that just about anyone can start using it in their own packages, in their own products. Hopefully it'll get better, but I have to admit, working with DOCX files is terrible. So if you can contribute, if you can add and make suggestions, happy to do so. Oh, I see there's an issue. I should look at that afterwards. But ultimately, what I did was create a web page instead. And so if I were to find that NDA, that non-disclosure agreement again, I can drag and drop, and this is a web app. In fact, it is a web app without a server in the back. I can analyze it, and it will make changes right in this document. And so if I give it a second here, it's just analyzing. what I can do afterwards is download the document and take a look at it as a Word file. Again, life would be so much easier if we all worked in, say, HTML or Markdown. But the reality is, if you go to school and you're submitting homework for your professors or your teachers, if you are a professional, if you're working in the corporate world, all of it is going to be Microsoft Word. I hate it, but that's just how it works. Now, it is taking a little longer than I thought, but you can see that it's done now. What it did, and I'll explain this in a bit, is it found relevant skills. It gave an executive summary about what it thought, and it found various weaknesses. So here, very classic. This is it's deliberately a bad NDA for my purposes here. So vague purpose, that is a clear one. I knew that that would be true. Not sure about this one. Contradictory. It was 5 years, and the confidentiality obligations shall survive the expiration or termination. So there's a bit of ambiguity, and it would give some suggestions about clarifying the duration and what it applied. So here it said it left a comment that's not available in my preview, but it did put a red line here. Shall expire in 5 years. However, the obligations shall survive for as long as such information. So it separates it, creates a trade secret. This is a common, correct way of doing it. Anyways, just a bunch of other comments, and you can see that we have the document right here. I can download it right here, and we'll just open it up and take a look. And so you can see the red lines that it has applied, as well as the comments in case it needed it. And it's marked up this document. Now, what's really cool is if I refresh, I can actually throw a bunch of different documents in here. And so here I have an IP assignment, assigning intellectual properties. There's a letter of intent here, which is basically a frame of a letter. I don't think there's going to be very much in here anyways. There's an independent contractor agreement, a startup shareholders agreement. Anyways, a bunch of things I found off the internet, and I'm going to run it in batch mode. It's just going to go through each one. And this is, in theory, going to be faster than opening Microsoft Word, saying a bunch of things to a chatbot, and then waiting for it to spit out, and then saving it and fiddling with all of that. I can create an interface that I want that suits my purposes. And that's a power of abstracting out one of your systems so that it's no longer tied to Microsoft Word. Now, the other thing that I'm really proud about of this particular software is that you saw before that it accessed a couple of skills. And so I skipped it, unfortunately, but the status you can see now is saying selecting skills. So here, assignment of intellectual property, confidentiality, and invention assignment agreements. I think this is the coolest thing right now is because AI has a lot of smarts, but it's trying to juggle between, are you a regular person asking a normal question, or are you a professional asking very detailed question? So let's go back to my NDA before. We call it an NDA if we know it. It's a non-disclosure agreement. But for regular people, it's known as a confidentiality agreement. Very common. We all know what it means. Don't blab, don't tell secrets, don't spread the word everywhere. If you ask chat-gpt about a confidentiality agreement, you might mean something really simple. You might mean 2 paragraphs that you send to an acquaintance just to say, please don't spread this around. Or you can have something really detailed, many pages long. This is not a particularly long one. Where do you draw the line? Well, ChatGPT will always assume you're a generalist, not unless you give it hints that you are, say, a lawyer. But what's nice is that slowly but surely, we're seeing skills being uploaded to the internet. And here, this is agentskills.legal. And you can see that it has a ton of different skills, 874 right now. And if I look for non-disclosure, no, that's probably bad. Let's go with confidentiality. You can find a confidentiality NDA tool. And so if I click in here, you're going to see the skills. It is incredibly detailed. It says what the output structure is, what are the prerequisites, how to deal with each section. I'm sure there are sections about optional or not, what it should be. So for example, here you could see typically 1 to 3 years. So giving just a bit more context. Now, confidentiality agreements are usually pretty simple. But if I go back here and browse just all of it, we can find some really gray area not so detailed, or rather very detailed guidance. And so here there's a whistle. I'm just going to try and find one from someone else. So if I go here, sorry, this person, Max Sonderby, has submitted many different tools. I just want to go find someone from Casemark who operates a site. So if we go, wow, there's a lot. Okay, let's come back. A demand letter. Nice and simple, but you can write it in many different ways. A demand letter is basically asking somebody to pay or do something. Is it kicking a tenant out? Is it demanding somebody pay for your services? Is it demanding someone pay back a loan? You can write in so many different ways, and you can see here each time there are steps about what you should and should not do. Okay. So all that is to say is that right now, 874 is good. There may be more in the future. And what we're going to do with each of these is tap into that knowledge base. And so here, we did an IP assignment. It found an IP assignment skill. If I go here, what is this one? Deed of assignment. I don't care about that. Intercompany agreement. So here, this is a loan agreement within a company between different departments or subsidiaries. It found the right things. Loan agreement, corporate finance. If I go into independent contractor agreement, it found the right skills. And so hopefully more and more of these libraries will come out, and you're going to see detailed steps about what I would expect out of something really good. And hopefully it's someone really qualified doing this kind of work. And so I had a lot of fun with agentskills.legal, and hooking it up means I'm not just asking ChatGPT, what do you think? Instead, I have some legal experts prepare out what someone should expect from the right legal document. And here we're going to see that a bunch of changes were made. And so red lines here, red lines are changes throughout the document. So this is a bit hard to see. This preview keeps it in black and white. But if I were to download this independent contractor agreement, just give me 1 second here, you're going to find this comes from a law firm, so there are already some notes. law firm for the public, and so there's a whole bunch of notes. Gemini AI mentioned very correctly that the number of hours a contractor works may push them towards becoming an employee. Really important for tax and insurance and employment law reasons. And so if you set it to, say, 40 hours just like an employee, if it looks like an employee, it's an employee. And so very correctly identifying this potentially as a problem. But if you're going all the way down, this is a document coming from a law firm, so I expected it to be pretty good. Here, it took the time to add this language, professional and workmanlike manner. Good language to have in there. Any other red lines here? It is expanding the intellectual property rights of the company, so that's not just what's relevant to a business. It's what arises out of, sorry, it's narrowing that IP property. That's an interesting one. But I suppose, again, it's worried about the contractor versus employee segment. Anyways, we're not going to go through this as a legal exercise, but all I wanted to show you is that we can do all of these in different ways. We can move this along and tap into other repositories of information. This is something that would be really difficult if I kept it all within Word. Number one, how would I do multi-documents? Really, really hard, because the whole idea of Microsoft Word is you are working on one document at a time. This allows you to work on 5, 6, 10, and you can create the interface however you want. I wanted to experiment with agentskills.legal, but you can imagine a world where you have an editor and you're just moving between documents really, really quickly. Okay, I have talked long enough and far too much about legal topics. I just wanted to show you guys that code can be reused. It's one of the nice things. And what I built for Word was repurposed, rejigged to create other tools like this one. I like that it's on a web page. This is something that I can easily share with friends and family. But alternatively, I can create packaged software. I could put it on a phone. I could put it on an app, all because I took out everything that was very much wrapped in Word. Now, if you want to build something like this as well, try and check out NPM, DOCX redline.js. Really pretty cool now that I have a package out there ready to go. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time with another project. Bye.